Welcome back to the Advanced Selling Podcast, the longest running sales training podcast history. I'm Bill Caskey.
I'm Bryan Neal here.
We have had a, what do you call this? Not a vacation from each other, but no, not a rift. Did you say
no,
rift?
a respite. I was going to say respite, but that's
respite.
really not
Okay.
between you people.
Because that implies we were tired of each other. No, we both had spring break vacations at different times, and so we've been excommunicated from each other. There's the word. That's the word. So we're back at it today, and we're going to be talking about a topic that I think you'll find fascinating. I do, and Bryan just brought it up to me, and I've already started to think some of the awesome elements around it. Before we get too far into it, though, I want to remind you that our Insider Program is in May. It's the first Friday in May. We're going to be talking about something we have not talked about before, and that is, what is your offer, and how do you proclaim it? How do you express what it is you do? And I find that a lot of sales organizations really miss this. And it's so easy once you decide the template. I'm going to give you a rubric of how to walk through it. So I think you're going to find a lot of value there. Because if you're only closing 15, 18, 20% of the deals, there's a reason you're not closing 50. I think a lot of it has to do with inability to express exactly what we're going to offer. So that's the plan in May.
And it's beautiful out, isn't it? I tell you, I'm going to be beekeeping. I tell you that?
No.
About a beehive. We'll talk about that another day.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's really, my bees are getting here this week. I'm kind of nervous.
Oh,
anyway, that's not what I want to talk about. So this is fun. When I was in college, I started with two of my friends, and then we got 10 others, or 11 others. I get 10 others, or 13 total. And we started an event to raise money for Riley Children's Hospital here in Indianapolis. We did it under the heading of raising money in the name of a guy named Ryan White, a kid who passed away from AIDS. Big deal. When he was growing up, he got kicked out of schools and stuff, and we raised money in his honor. Raised $10,900 in 1991 at the first one. Well, the thing kept going after that, and it's been 35 plus years since then. And we've hooked up with the Children's Miracle Network. So all these dance marathons, there are 400 dance marathons in the country, all spun off of ours that we started at Indiana University.
Wow.
And I didn't know this was this big of a deal. All of those together, which point back to ours, have raised over $400 million for kids, all sorts of kids, hospital health charities. Amazing.
Wow. It's so
a big deal. Really cool thing. And I'm really proud of our team and our friends, and that we all did this thing. We all got together again. We had there's award ceremony. But first, and we can show this in the show notes, I just sent Bill I sent you the text of the person who handed us the award.
Okay.
And you need to look through look at her face and kind of look through, she's been taking care of herself there. You see who it is?
Now, is this picture from recent?
This is a picture from last week. This picture is from last Thursday. This woman is like 66 or 67 years old. She was the subject of most young boys' crushes, kind of your age to my age, of one of the.
Man,
not Marsha Brady, and it's not Marsha Brady. It's not Farrah Fawcett, but this was another young crush. She comes from a very famous musical family.
Kay Jackson.
Big family from Utah.
I don't Partridge.
Close. What's the only other group you know with a last name? She sang with her brother a lot on a variety show.
Oh, Marie Osmond?
That's Marie Osmond.
Is that who it is?
Awesome.
She looks great.
Looks awesome, doesn't she? And she
looks great.
For as good as she looks, she's the kindest, most warm human that's one I've ever been around. She was awesome. She started the Children's Miracle Network.
Oh, did she? Really?
So she's the one it's called the Founders Award. She's the founder. She gave it to. So she came we had a little pre-reception and hung out with her. She was the nicest, kindest person. I was so happy. You meet someone, you hope that they're.
Yeah, it does not surprise me with her. I mean, her family seems like that.
Awesome.
No, that's good. Well, my wife and mother-in-law saw her in concert here a couple of years ago. She still tours and said it was really good. She was still, had all the grace on stage and good voice and everything. So
she's just really awesome.
Yeah,
so sales lesson, this whole thing. So one, it's kind of cool. We did this thing in 1991. We didn't know what was going to happen, but we took all these actions. And what happened was this like ridiculous, crazy exponential growth to give back to the world, which is really good, came from all these actions we did 35 years ago. And there's no part of us when we were doing the things that we were doing that we thought this is what was going to happen.
Of course.
No, we had no idea. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun to have our listeners think about actions and things that they do or don't do every single day that will or won't contribute to some outcome for them in a year, 5 years, 10 years, and in this case, 30 years. I thought that was a really good, good little sales topic to think about. What are actions or behaviors I do or don't do that are going to potentially, show themselves later?
Yeah, I think that where my mind goes on that is that, there are activities and behaviors that we don't. Let's start with what we don't do. That we don't do because of some inconvenience on our part. Maybe we don't want to send that last email, or we don't want to post that last video because, I got kids at home and I got to go do the thing. And the thing you never know is who is going to see that at the exact point they need to see that. Who is going to hear from you at the exact point they need to hear from you. And I think we're very greedy when we say, well, no, I'm not going to do these videos today, or I'm not going to reach out today because, I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not feeling like it. And think about what the downstream effect of that might be. It might be that you don't talk to the person who's actually suffering because they don't have you in their life. And I know we don't think of it that way. We think, I'm suffering because I got to make a freaking cold call. But what about them? Is it possible that they're suffering because they don't have access to you and your value and your offer and all that? And I think we don't think about that. And you guys didn't think about that when you were doing this. You were thinking about how many kids this could help, I suspect.
Mm-hmm.
But you weren't thinking, today, 30 years from now, we're going to be accepting a Lifetime Achievement Award, $400 million. You weren't thinking about that.
No. For Marie Osmond, no less. I mean, call that what that.
For Marie Osmond, yeah.
No, I think that's so good, and I'm going to add a word to it. And I think this is something that happens. I'm going to use the word selfish. And we as sellers, I think broadly speaking, with some of these things, become selfish. You mentioned this, in real form. So I've got these things to do. Or that's hard for me to do, or it won't work, or it hasn't worked in the past. There's things that I could do or not do. And I choose to do something right now that's not maybe building for the future. It's more just an event or a thing right now that I do. I think about even territory salespeople who are out and about. And by no way, shape, or form, Bill and Aaron are the kind of guys that teach you like, hey, just stop in or tell them you're going to be in the area. That's not what this is. And if I'm in an area and I don't know someone, to reach out to them, it could be a connector, it could be anyone in a new territory that I'm in, or I always go to see one client and I don't go see others. Shame on me. That's on me to not try to make an inroad or a relationship with a company that I might drive by all the time. And I justify these things selfishly. Well, I don't have time. By the time I get up there and see my customer that I have to see, it's time for me to go back home, or whatever the thing is.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe that's the lesson here, is that, you need to do things. I know I need to do things. And believe me, there's no better professional procrastinator like me. I mean, I'm well advanced in the whole procrastination thing. So, but I've got to be thinking, wait a minute, when I procrastinate, who does that hurt? It hurts me, yes, because I don't then get the thrill of talking to people and the money and all that, but it hurts them. It is selfish. It is selfish. And we have all this. I mean, think about, Bryan, how much knowledge you've gained in the past 30 years, and me too. And anybody in a role that you're in, you've gained a lot of expertise. And yet and I think you and I do a pretty good job on the podcast and other places of sharing it, but most people don't. Most people just don't share what they know. And I don't know if it's a humility thing, or if it's I don't want to be seen as somebody that I'm not, or I don't know. But you not sharing that stuff, is really having a negative impact on your audience, on your potential clients. And we just, whether it's a call, creating a document, creating a post online, you just don't know when that thing is going to have legs, and downstream, it could really help a lot of people.
that also think this is similar or adjacent to being selfish. And that is making decisions for other people. So I'm going to decide that no one's going to like my LinkedIn video, so I won't put it up because no one's going to like that because I don't have anything to say and I don't want to be seen like, so I'm not going to put it up. And that is that, you know, you're making the decision that they won't want to hear from you or see you. And one of my friends who started the Dance Marathon with me, he's a coach, a speaker guy too, and he's got a podcast and he's built all these things in the last 5 years or so. And we're later in career. And when I first started talking to him about doing his own thing, I said, look, man, that, you know, you got a lot of knowledge that people want to hear. He's like, dude, I don't know anything. Like everything I know, everybody else already knows. And I said, one, that's false. Just 90% of the people, things you think other people know, they don't, you know, 90% of the time. And the other 10% need to be reminded.
Yeah.
So put your voice out there and make yourself known to others, because I love what you said about the timing. You never know when it's going to hit the right person at the right time.
And I know what he means about that. I relate to that. And he has a way, just like we do, of saying things that nobody else has. Nobody else, he can say the exact same thing you and I say, but it's going to be taken differently because of his tone of voice and his oration skills and his tone, his vibe, his where he is in his life. It's just going to be different. There's a lady who studies the vocal tones and voice and how important it is to work on your voice, especially if you're doing a lot of speaking. Number one, it's good for your throat to know how to speak and breathe and all that. But number two, she said, you know, you don't realize how important vocal tone is when you're communicating. And she said 20 different people all have a totally different vocal tone. It comes in the ears very differently, even if they're saying the same thing. And I think that if nothing else, we need to be reminded that how we say something is going to be different than the other 20 people who might be saying the same thing.
So true. So tactically speaking, because we talk about it a lot, and I'm going to pull back and talk about it a little more generically. A thing that you are, if you're not doing something every single day, I'm going to say on LinkedIn and social, whether that's posting something, liking something, scrolling, commenting on something every day, that's a thing you can do now that you won't see much from it in the next 10 minutes or in the next week or 2 weeks. But if you keep doing that consistently, the next thing you know, you'll have this really great, effective connection point for you and prospective customers. And every day you wait, the decision you don't do it pushes the ability to have it be valuable for you further and further and further out. I just had a guy in one of our courses just put in one of our LinkedIn tools, and he said, man, I've been behind on this LinkedIn thing. He goes, I'm in now. I'm in there every day. And I said, what did you do before this? He's like, well, I was a welder. He was a welder. And he was in the Army before that. And so he had this belief that, well, there's no value for me there. And now that he's a seller, he's now, this is just in the last month, lit up about this thing. Wow. And now he's creating a habit. I was really proud of him to hear him say that. Yeah. Because that's an easy thing to make a decision that says, this won't help me. No one's going to want to hear from me.
Well, that's the default. That's just the default wiring that we have, that no one's going to hear. I'm not saying anything different. Yeah, that's just default stuff. And so you have to move from default to design and say, wait a minute, okay, let's assume that I do have something, because your experiences are different. So we've talked about that. On LinkedIn, plus, sometimes you can do a lot of work on LinkedIn, and then 4 months later, you have an awesome month. Like you're just knocking it out of the park, and you don't relate the two. You don't relate the awesomeness of your month to all the work you've done on LinkedIn, because nobody comes to you and says, hey, I saw what you posted. Here's $50,000. It's just not signaled that way.
No.
And so, but I've noticed that when we get really active on LinkedIn, there's about a 60 to 90 day, backlog, just a delay, and we start seeing things happen, and it happens almost every time. So, and yet I still move off the pedal.
Yeah.
I still put the brake on LinkedIn, and I shouldn't.
No, same.
All right. Make sure you go to advancedsellingpodcast.com/insider if you want to participate in our May Insider Program. It's 75 minutes of training. We have added an extra training a month to kind of follow up on some of the things that we're talking about on the main event. So it's $97 a month. Go advancedsellingpodcast.com/insider.
Awesome.
I'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.